Hello, in this YouTube I go through the new functions and the changed functions of the Wing Edit version 3.2 compared to the previous version 3.1. So let's start. There's the new function editing screens for all custom controls that has been added to Wing Edit 3.2. You see it here that you have the UCC edit menu option available, which did not exist in Wing Edit 3.1. So you can use it exactly the same way as you could do it on the Wing consoles. You can configure here all the 3 different consoles. In my case, I'm using a Wing Rec, so this is where I can do the GPIO and the 16 layers. When you use the Wing full size and you go to CC Edit, you will see that in addition to the GPIO and the layers 1 to 16, you also have the user layer. And in case you use the Wing Compact and you go to CC Edit, you see that you have the GPIO and then user 1 to 16, matrix, main matrix 5 to 8 and DCA 1 to 16 available. So the next function added are the 4 pop-up windows for the custom controls. Otherwise you could not use them via Wing Edit. You find them here on the right side. Previously they have been the dim, mute, mono and left-right swap buttons there for the monitor, and that is now replaced by those 4 buttons here. When you click them, you get here the new custom control panel. In total you have 4 of them, and for each of those panels you can configure which layer should be shown. That's a very handy feature here. In regard of that, not all of the functions are available by being controlled while Wing Edit. That is why I will go through them. I'm closing now panel 1, 2 and 4, and I keep the layer 3 where nothing is configured yet. So I go here to layer 3 as well, and I'm quickly going through the functions. The mute, solar, insert, Wing rank, sense on fader, and here's the first one. Sense on fader, it says mixer only. Fader spill, mixer only. The FX parameters are available. Global page, fader page. So fader page, you are only working on the mixer directly. The overview page works only in the mixer directly. Other functions which are mixer only, like the fader, to set the fader to -infinity, set the fader to -10 dB, set the fader to 0 dB, then auto mix, X, Y, channel previous, channel next, channel solo, bus solo tab, main solo tab. Those are those functions which are only working via the mixer. Next function. So now in Wing Edit 3.2 you have those 16 buttons available, for one for each of the effects insert slots. So when you click them, then you get a pop-up for the corresponding effect. You see on the left side you have a needle where you can pin it so that it's always on the top. Then you see as well what the bus is or the channel is that effect is inserted, and you see the meter. In addition, via this arrow here, you can change then the effect that is in that insert slot. Next function that has been added to Wing Edit 3.2 are the shortcut keys. You see in Wing Edit 3.1 that was not available. And there are quite some functions available to use via shortcuts, and they have grouped it into those 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 groups. So let's start with the main window, and by that also explain two functions here. So you'll see here the function and the currently assigned shortcut key combination. And either you click on plus, then you can assign a new button to that. So I could use one where I believe this is not used so far, is a Control P. And then Control P has been added to as an additional shortcut. But you also can click on the shortcut itself and remove this key mapping. So I remove it now again. And if you do not want to add it, but you just want to change the existing one and then not remove the old one, then you straight can click on the shortcut and say change key mapping. Then this pop-up here is coming up. It just came up on the first screen. And then you say then Control P. And now it is not added, but it replaced this shortcut. Now I reverse that again. That's what it is. Okay, I go through the shortcuts of the main key. So we have F1 to F10, go through these main entries, and then in addition page up and page down in the processing channel strip. So I click now F1, F2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And then I'm on the processing channel strip where I go with F1. And now I click on, I select page down and page up, then I can move through that. Okay, next one. It's the section of extra windows. And I need to take my extra list here. So when I'm in the extra windows, then for Shift F1, I get the custom control panel 1, Shift F2, Shift F3, Shift F4. The left surface window, Shift F5, it is something, by the way, you only can get via the shortcuts now. So far, you could not double check on the full-size wing. You could so far configure via assign what the controls for this full-size wing or compact, but you couldn't see it. And now via the keyboard shortcuts, Shift F5, F6, F7, you see now the panels for the channel strip of the full-size wing. Now continue with F8, Shift F8 is the compact surface, Shift F9 is the rec surface, and you see that the rec button is lit up. So this is the rec, the external, and the virtual. For the external, I'm waiting for the external control. I'm curious for that, yeah. So that is what's in this extra window section. The USB recorder you get via F11, and by F12 you get the SD card player here. So now the effects windows you can toggle by alternate and the number buttons. Alternate 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and so on is opening up the effects, the pop-up effects 1 to 8, and then control alternate 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and so on is opening up the effect 9 to 16. So that's all about the extra windows section. Let's come to, so we had extra windows here. Let's come to the master section. The master section, it allows me to toggle this panel on the right side, which is the same like you would use this arrow button. So then open the save dialog, which is the same here in the left on the top of this panel is save. You get the pop-up, and load, you get the pop-up to select the file. And then the talkback is Control A, as you see here, and Control B for the second talkback button. What is the next section here? The fader layer. In the sequence, as you have arranged your faders in this channel strip, then you can move left and right. So it takes exactly the sequence you're displaying here, with the only little usability enhancement I would request is that you have then to go, and when it goes out of focus here, yet. Yeah? It is in difference to the buttons you have seen. Those buttons I take in advance are going for the numbered sequence. It goes from channel 1 to channel 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and it does not consider the sequence you have configured here in your channel strip. So then select the first channel strip is home button. So if you're wherever you are, home button brings you to the first one, and the end button jumps to the last one, which you don't see because it didn't move the channel strip to the right. The fader layers here, the fader layers, you can jump through by going to alternate cursor up and down. So click alternate and then cursor up, down. I can move through those. And especially the two user layers here on the bottom with alternate U, you select the first user layer, and V, the next letter in alphabet, you select the previous one. So we go to the next section, which is the shortcut keys, which is the selected channel, where you can control certain features of the selected channel. So I go to the channel 1 here, and I go to my channel strip by using F1. Shift E is opening the edit panel for the channel. Then Shift M is muting the channel. Shift S is soloing the channel. Shift Q for equalizer is turning the equalizer on off. Shift G is toggling the gate on and off. Shift C is the compressor on off. Shift I for insert is toggling the first insert off. Shift O the second. And you can also move the cursor, the faders up and down with Shift cursor up and Shift cursor down. We come to the next session, which is the show control. I select F8. I go to the show control. I have a show loaded, and I'm on the scenes panel. Alternate cursor right is going to the next scene. Alternate cursor left to the previous scene. Then alternate G, it is now loading that song. So then I can go to alternate N is now next song. Alternate P is previous song. Now we come to the USB recorder control. So that is why I'm calling up the USB player. So I first have to open a playlist. Then I have that available in Wing Edit. I hope they will add the functionality soon that I can do all the functions from the Wing Rack, also via Wing Edit. Shift spacebar is toggles play and pause. Shift O is stop. So Shift previous, Shift next. So I can go through the list. Currently I only have 2 in the list. And then for the recorder, you have Shift plus, which starts and stops the recording, but I don't do this now. Let's go to the SD1 recorder control. That's what it is. Currently both are linked together, and so I only show you the SD1 recorder. So Control F10 is then selecting the previous section. Control F11 toggles play and pause. That's what I do now here. Next session is 12, so you have 10 is previous, 12 is next, and in between is play, pause, and then stop is Control End, Control cursor left and right is then jumping through the markers here. And the same thing you have for the SD2 card player. The only difference is that you not only click Control, but you click Control and Shift. That's the difference here. Yeah. So the next section here in the shortcuts is Control plus and Control minus, and Control 1 is reset to the standard. So when I click now Control minus, we'll say, and there's a small bug here, by the way. It's like it jumps now to my first screen, and I am now moving it back again. So Control minus, Control plus, and with Control 1, it is now again, it's now again switching to my main panel, which is, so if you don't have the Wing Edit running on an attached second monitor, then you don't have the problem. Maybe they'll fix it. It doesn't disturb me too much. It's the fifth function that was added is regarding the Wing Edit layers here. You have those 11 fader strips here. And so far in Wing Edit 3.1, when you selected Wing Edit and you wanted to configure your fader strips here, then there was a section which was not available, that was available for all the other consoles, which is the capability to add the bus sense faders, the bus to bus send faders, the effect parameters, and the MIDI channels. And in 3.2 that has been added, so now you have there the same capabilities. So there's an additional function which was added, which is not described in the release documentation for Wing Edit 3.2, which are those three buttons here, which you have available in the bus sense sections. So when I go now to the empty monitor fader strip, then I can move those bus sense faders to the fader strip. But now you can select between source customization and bus customization. So when I'm moving the same fader again, which is by the way a new function, because in Wing Edit 3.1, when you have moved a fader to the fader strip, then you can't move it a second time. Now in Wing Edit 3.2, it remains, so I can move it a second time or third time, depending on the need I have. And depending on if I have chosen source customization, you will see the source that is sent to the bus, or you're using bus customization, then you will see here the name of the bus the channel is sent to. That's quite a nice feature. And then, interesting enough, you have here the selected channel to bus. So when this is a kind of choker. Currently it doesn't display anything. So first I would need to add some channels to it. And you see now when I'm selecting channel 1, then you see here channel 1 to bus 2, then channel 2 to bus 2, and channel 3 to bus 2. So that is a kind of choker that you always can see the bus send of the current selected channel. That is a very nice feature here, which I believe also didn't make it in the release documentation. The function number 6 that is added are that the Wing Edit layers are now added to the library scope and stored in the snapshots. So far in Wing Edit 3.1, the fader strip configuration was saved in a separate way than the other fader strips, like for the Wing Rec, the Wing Full Size, and the Wing Compact have been saved. Therefore, you just could not just load them, because it would not have changed here anything, but you would need to click on Restore. Now, in Wing Edit 3.1, this is now saved and can be loaded like anything else. And that is why it was added to the scope. So in the configuration section, you find now the Wing Edit icon. When you click on it, you can select which one of those 11 fader strips you want to have in the scope or not in the scope. Here is that so far you could not set the globals on via Wing Edit. So you had to go to the library on the console, in my case the Wing Rec, and this is where you had to set your globals. Now in Wing Edit 3.2 you can access that by going to the library page and click Global. A small change, but might be helpful to distinguish the versions you use. In the left upper corner it says console model you're using. In this case it's Wing Rec, and in 3.1 it didn't show that. Function number 9 that has been added to Wing Edit 3.2 are the channel previous and next button, which did not exist in 3.1. So when you go then to channel next or channel previous, they go in sequential order, so from 1 to 40 and aux 1 to 8. So when I go over there, there's only a small tweak there that it does not automatically shift to the left, but otherwise that is the new function here. In 3.2 the INIT and COPY function have been separated, where in 3.1 when you clicked on the copy screen, then you could select your channel or aux or bus or main or matrix, and then select the scope, and then you had to say if you want to init it or if you want to copy it. That seems to have been a little bit confusing. So in 3.2 that is now a separate function. So when you click here, then you get the channel init pop-up, and when you click the copy, then you get the channel copy pop-up screen here. In addition, when you go to the filter screen, you have the next previous channel, the init, and the copy button available as well on that dialog, where the existing init copy button was not available on the filter screen. So another enhancement has been made in 3.2 on the channel copy screen. Now you can go and copy from a channel to a bus or to a main or matrix, or from a matrix to a channel, so it will copy all the available parameters to the selected source. So in this case I select this Fabian vocal and I say I want to copy the customization to matrix 4 here, and when I say then copy and I go to the matrix, so you say that the Fabian Fox was now copied there. In Wing Edit 3.1 that was not possible, so when I would have tried to do the same thing and go customization, go to the matrix and select then the matrix 3, then only init is available. Copy, the copy function is then not available. So a usability enhancement was also added in the library for the snips. So in 3.2, when you have an empty recording focus, so I thought that maybe I've touched local but I didn't catch it and then closed it and want to record, you get now here an error message just to let you know that you cannot do any recording. In 3.1 that was a little bit unclear, so I had also no recording focus and I just couldn't click the rec button, where I might have not known why. So that's the enhancement in 3.2. There is an enhancement where I don't see the effect here. So here it says warning when an MS source is assigned to an aux channel. And so I'm going to the ES50A and take the input 25 and make it a mid side. And then I go to the channel assignment and take the aux channel 6 and assign the mid side source. So I can assign it, I don't get an error message. While in 3.1 it was that I can't assign a mid side source to an aux channel. So that might be a kind of oversight for whatever reason. On the filter page, there's an addition for the low and high cut filters, because now I can select the slope for the low cut and I can select the slope for the high cut. And that was a function that was not available via Wing Edit 3.1. With the new console firmware 3.0.5, there was the new bus feed configuration edit. So this is where you could configure all the feed parameters for a bus, and that was not available in Wing Edit so far. So now when I go to the bus and click here on the channel aux bus overview, then I get exactly the same panel with the same functions here. In Wing Edit 3.1, you only could select your sources that feed into the bus, and the same thing is done by saying set to on. So in case I want to have additional ones, I need to say set to on, and that is now the same function like it was available here in this simple way in 3.1. In 3.2 you now can select what main fader is displayed here by clicking on those three dots, and then you can choose between main 1 to 4, matrix 1 to 8, or DCA 1 to 16, in case this is what you wish to control here. In Wing Edit 3.1, this was not selectable. This was always the main 1 fader. In 3.2, the new option to choose if you want to get a disconnect warning or not has been added. In Wing Edit 3.1, that wasn't available. So the behavior was always like it was set to on. So when I show you, I have now the disconnect warning set to on, like was the behavior so far. And I disconnect my Wi-Fi connection and I get the message lost connection, auto reconnect is active, and I had to confirm that. So in case I'm disabling that message, Wing Edit is connected again, and now I'm disconnecting the Wi-Fi. It just disconnects and you don't get the warning message. So a function that is very much welcomed here is here on the setup audio page, the ES50 ports arrow counters. So now you can see on your 3 ports how many errors have been corrected and how many errors are uncorrected, which means that you can see if you have a bad cable, and that is discussed very much in the Facebook group for the Wing consoles. In 3.1 you did not have that option available. On the routing page for the inputs you will find also a new function, and for that I'm clicking to an unused stage box, so that when you want to set the remote control of an input to a certain stage box, like for the ES50B, I want to set them all to ES50B. That's now what I can do with a long click to the button, and the same for the receive customization. When I long click to receive customization, then I can set them all to on. Now all are set to ES50B and to receive customization. In 3.2 you can now reset the EQ band by holding down the band selection button. So when I click on PEQ here, when I click now on band number 1 and I long click it, then it gets resetted. That's a function that was not available in 3.1. So when I long clicked on the PEQ, nothing happened, so I had to reset it by setting the gain to 0. On the setup general page, you'll find an undocumented new option, which is the fader mode fine. The fader mode worked like you're used to in that kind of speed. So it's difficult to show. You need to feel it. Now when you set this option mode to on, it's a little bit slower. You see that the mouse cursor is going ahead to the slider head, while when it's off, it's straight on the slider head. In Wing Edit 3.1 that option did not exist, and the fader behaves like if the fader mode fine is set to off. We come now to the functions they changed. They removed the send from a bus to the same bus from the send screens. So you see it here. I selected bus 1, and on the bus 1 send screen now there is no fader seeable, and in Wing Edit 3.1 you saw the fader here. You couldn't do anything with it, you could not set it to on, but now the fader is removed from the bus send screen. Another change function in 3.2 is that the channel color is removed when I have turned the light off. So when I go to the customization and have here the light button, and when I unselect it, you can see here in the background that then the color is taken away. And in 3.1, when you did the same thing, the color has been not removed. So another thing they changed, which I already have shown, but for correctness they have listed it here under changed, so that the Wing Edit 3.1 source selection panel does not exist anymore, because it was replaced by the new bus feed configuration using the set on or set off mass update capabilities. Another thing that got changed is that the send mode link was removed from the channel bus feed menu here. So here I do not find that option anymore. That was available here in Wing Edit 3.1. On the copy pop-up, the selected channel which is to be copied is now surrounded by white, and the channels you want to copy it to, or the buses or the mains or the matrices, are yellow like it was before. In Wing Edit 3.1 the selected channel was yellow, and the target channel was also yellow. So that was confusing, and you always had to match the channel displayed in the left upper corner of this pop-up panel to know which one of those channels is now their source channel. Another change is that the SD recorder system error message is now shown as a text. I honestly do not know how to create an error message here, so I can't show you that changed function. Then there's another small change here. So when you init a fader strip by going to edit and you say init confirm, then it says now 33 to A8. And in 3.1, when you did it init, it said wrongly 33 to 40, even so that it showed the faders for the aux channels A1 to A8. So there is another small edit function which is on the assign panel. I have now an init_o function here. So when I click that, I can now initialize all the fader strips in one go. A function that was not available in Wing Edit 3.1. The last item of the changed list is the refined ULTRATAP delay spread algorithm. And I go to the spread setting and select 7 repeats. I go to Wing Edit 3.1. You see there's a different kind of distribution. Now I go and change it more. So then you can clearly see this. So that's all. I've covered all the edit and changed functions, and I did not go through the list of fixed things because it's obvious that something just got fixed. Nobody cares what it looked like before. I'm working now on a YouTube series about cutting over from a UL24R to a Wing rack, especially given the different kind of user interface between Wing Edit and their browser-based UL24R user front end. So